Well, if you're just joining us, this is developing news from West Asia, where there has been a sophisticated cyber operation. Over 1,000 Hezbollah fighters and affiliates are injured after their communication pages reportedly exploded across Lebanon simultaneously. Let's talk to retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel L. Davis. He's a military expert. He's joining us from Starling, Virginia. Colonel Davis, welcome. Hezbollah's leader Hassan Nasrallah had called earlier on his fighters a few months ago to stop using smartphones because Israel has the technology to infiltrate those devices. Hezbollah rules and relies again heavily on pagers to prevent Israel intercepting their communications, and there's speculation that the pagers were tampered with before being distributed to Hezbollah members. If at all it is determined that Israel had a hand in this breach of communication, why is Israel resorting to such tactics?
Look, I found it puzzling how people wonder about these kinds of things. I mean, who else would it be? Of course, it was Israel. That's, they've been basically in a low-level war since October 11th with Hezbollah, with the cross-border shots and attacks going back and forth. But this particular issue is really amazing because Nasrallah had said, hey, the smartphones, the modern technology is being compromised. We need to go back to some old school stuff, like from the 2000s with these pagers, which are much more limited. And it seemed like a lower threshold, so less of a risk. And of course, it turns out to be quite the opposite. Not just that it was compromised, but that it turned into an actual attack device. And I know a lot of people are speculating right now, it could be a signal was sent to tell the lithium battery to overheat. I would tend to not agree with that because of the simultaneous nature. Batteries have to overheat. They don't do it simultaneous. They had different amounts of time before they could do that. And I don't know how a signal would tell a battery to overheat and do it on demand. So it seems more likely that somehow there was a compromise in the devices themselves before they were distributed. But there's no information on that right now. I'm just saying, based on what happened, that seems to be the more likely outcome. But the bigger picture here, of course, as you mentioned, is that this is coming in light of the increasing tensions between Hezbollah and Israel. I mean, they had what was the biggest exchange of rockets less than a month ago. It seemed to kind of calm down for the moment, but now Israel has said, our war goal is to bring the people back to northern Israel, which can only be done, according to what they have said, if the Hezbollah side has been pushed back to the Litani River. So that would imply that Israel is getting ready to go on to an offensive to drive Hezbollah about 25 kilometers or so back to the north. That remains to be seen, but I assure you, if Israel does move in that direction, it is not anywhere near as easy as some people may think it's going to be. And I argue it's much more difficult militarily than everything they've been doing for the last 11 months in Gaza.
Colonel Davis, you're right to say that this is tensions between Hezbollah and Israel because there is no war that has been declared between Hezbollah and Israel. But what impact will this have? Because we are talking about communication warfare here.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's especially if you're thinking about going into a conflict. I'm looking tentatively for something to happen probably quickly, because since Hezbollah is no longer using the smartphones, and then they've resorted to using the pagers, now those have been compromised. So even if it's a 1,000 that went off, I assure you nobody is using them right now, which means that they're in a communication blackout because they've got to try to figure some other way that's safer to get communication, which means if Israel made any move in the near term, it's going to be very difficult for Hezbollah to coordinate actions, to communicate its people what they need to do, etc. So I think this is a very dangerous time for the situation on the ground right now, and it could presage an attack move by Israel. There's still a lot of things that have to happen, and that hasn't been the case yet. But no matter what, it's going to make it a lot more difficult for the Hezbollah side.
What Colonel Davis is talking about is a developing story that we got in our newsroom at this moment in what appears to be a sophisticated cyber operation. Over 1,000 Hezbollah fighters and affiliates are injured after their communication pages reportedly exploded across Lebanon. Lebanese media have linked the incident to an Israeli cyber attack, though Israel has yet to officially comment. And I've been talking to retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel L. Davis. Daniel, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for talking to us today.
You bet. Always my pleasure.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.